an author with a popular new book, Sweets to Whet Your Appetite, and a look at public health initiatives. All that and more is coming right up, and I hope you'll stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome. We're so glad you could join us. And today, Tom Franklin will talk with us about his new book that's selling very well. And in our kitchen, sweets. That means Judi Freeman standing by, and other things. But right now, let's talk about consumer news across the nation. In America, where it comes to vaccines, there's a brand new form of packaging that's a breakthrough for strength and safety. Here's what it's all about and what it does.
Vaccines may soon have a better shot at helping those who need them most. Scientists have developed a shipping container that precisely maintains the temperature of medicines when they're shipped around the world. That's significant because immunizations need to be kept at an exact temperature to be effective. In fact, it's estimated 20% of vaccine shipments need to be discarded because their temperatures weren't maintained. The new container can keep vaccines at the right temperature for up to 5 days. It's thought the development will improve public health initiatives both at home and abroad, garnering accolades from the healthcare community as well as the packaging industry. In fact, the container recently took top honors in the non-food category at the DuPont Awards. The awards are designed to encourage innovative designs in the packaging industry and have recognized important breakthroughs in packaging for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.dupont.com/packaging.
If you're interested in educational vacations, there are many places in America of interest, and you'll learn more about America's history. You might want to plan your next one in this report here, which gives you all the details.
Educational vacations. They usually get high marks from youngsters when they're mixed with traditional vacation activities. One good example is a trip to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. Once there, you can take in the prehistoric sights and sounds found in the Dinosaur Walk Museum, including a life-size 2-story tall T-Rex. Families also have a chance to get in touch with America's military history at the Veterans Memorial Museum. The museum is filled with memorabilia that begins with the Revolutionary War and continues to current-day conflicts. Natural history can be explored on the hiking trails in nearby Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The mountain history lesson continues with a stroll through Craftsman's Village at Dollywood Entertainment Park, where year-round workshops are offered for all ages. For more information, call the Pigeon Forge Department of Tourism at 1-800-251-9100 or visit the website at www.mypigeonforge.com.
A recent survey shows that many Americans do not have a will to protect their wishes after death. There is a website now that can assist, and here's where you'll find it.
Where there's a will, there's a way to make sure your property is distributed in accordance with your wishes after you are gone. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society wants to remind people that without a will, a person's wishes and good intentions are often meaningless. Without a will, a state may divide up an estate using a predetermined formula that does not necessarily take into account verbal promises. State laws do not provide for close friends, employees, or charitable organizations that you intended to support after your death. When making a gift to a charity as part of a will, it is possible to donate real estate, cash, securities, life insurance, or retirement plan assets. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society provides information about a variety of financial tools for estate planning. To learn more, visit the website at www.nationalmssociety.org or call 1-800-FIGHT-MS.
earlier, we taped an interview with Tom Franklin about his popular new book, and we'll roll that tape for you right now. How are you, Tom?
I'm great.
You live pretty near us in Oxford, Mississippi.
About 5.5 hours away.
Yes. This is a fascinating, I would say a gripping book.
Oh, thank you.
And it's very descriptive. I understand it all took place at Clark County, Alabama,
Right.
in the 1890s, and you were raised not too far from there. How far was it? About 12 or 13 miles?
My dad says it's 6 miles as the crow flies, but on roads probably about 10 or 12 miles.
So as a child even, and you were growing up, you heard these tales about hell at the breach.
Yeah, well, we heard about this gang, and my 11th grade English teacher is one of the local experts on the events, Joyce Burridge, and she would tell us about it. And I've heard about it from her and others, and really heard about it when a book was published by the Clark County Democrat, the local paper up there. And it's called The Mitchell War of Clark County. The book came out around 1990, and I read it then and, was reminded of the story.
I was very interested in the fact that this is a historical and fictional novel, actually based on something that did occur in the 1800s, but that the characters are not patterned definitely after people in the gang. They are creations of your imagination.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
they're all loosely based on people who really lived, but there, of course, isn't much known about those people. There are stories handed down over time, and those are stories that I heard and read about. For example, one man was ambushed from the trees, and while people are shooting at him, his name's Lev James, while people are shooting at him, he fires back, and when he runs out of bullets, he throws rocks and sticks at them. So that really happened.
Yes.
So it's easy to take that and start imagining the kind of man who would be that tough.
Without your imaginativeness and everything that went with it to make it fictional, it would not have been anything but statements of fact. Is that right?
I think so. I had to make up things, make up motives, and come up with reasons why people did things. And some of these events in what's known as the Mitchell War are pretty horrific. Ambushings and murders, bushwhacking. So, it's hard to come up with reasons why that stuff happened.
I was intrigued with the fact that an accidental shooting, it was not supposed to have been thought about ahead of time, or killing, is what geared them into a huge stage of revenge. And we're talking about sharecroppers mostly, right?
Right. Poor white sharecroppers. Well, here's a good example of how I took the events of history and reshaped them. What really happened, there was a local politician, an aspiring politician, who died. He wasn't shot, though. Mm-hmm. He died mysteriously, and no one really knew how. His friends and family suspected he was poisoned by his political opponent, a doctor, who then fled the county thinking that this man and this man's family would kill him, and they probably would have.
Yeah.
For the novel, I wanted to make it more dramatic, so I had the man be shot instead of dying, possibly of poison.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So these are the kind of changes, and as you see, they're pretty big changes.
Yeah.
There's a sheriff in the novel who, in real life, his name's William Waite. William Waite was in his late 20s in real life when these events happened.
He's
in
all through the book, yes.
In the book, he's 60 years old.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of liberties.
Was a sort of an arrogant, independent creature, was he not, the sheriff?
He was,
yeah.
But he had been, he had reigned over the county for the last 30 years. And
well, as I say, it's a gripping book. It has a lot of gore in it because of the subject matter you're dealing with based on the fact. But I wrote down a little phraseology to be sure that I mentioned it, which lifted the mood a little bit and was quite amusing. Something like this, it says, in a cotton field, each tuft is as white as a senator's eyebrow. which is quite a description. You also have written a book before, but is it a novel or was it a collection of short stories?
A collection of short stories called Poachers. Mm-hmm. That came out in 1999.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to write this book?
This book took me 4 years.
4 years. And I understand you had input from some people that really knew more about the occasion that occurred in the 1890s.
Yeah, there are three, I consider them local experts. One is Hardy Jackson, as his friends call him, who's a professor of history at Jacksonville State University.
Really?
Mm-hmm. His grandfather is the sheriff, is Billy Waite, or William Waite. The other two, Jim Cox is the editor of the Clark County Democrat, and the third is my 11th grade English teacher, Joyce Burridge. I think great uncle was in the Hell at the Breach gang.
Well, I was thinking, since you heard of this all of your life, but what do you think really geared you to want to write about it? Was there something that, did you always want to, or what?
No, that's actually not a very good story. When I got an agent to represent the collection of stories, Poachers, he said to me, I need a novel synopsis. I need you to write, the idea for a novel, and I'll try to sell 2 books.
Yeah.
So, I would have done anything to sell 2 books. So I cast about for ideas and came up with 2. One was a comedy, the other was a love story. And the agent, whose name is Nat Sobel, who's up in New York, wrote me back on email and said, these are terrible ideas. He said, I want more like Poachers. He said, that's a violent book. Why don't you give me a violent novel idea? So,
well, you did that. You certainly did. We want to wish you well. Hell at the Breach is quite a book, and it's available in the bookstores. We wish you well. You're on your way now to Montgomery for an interview and a book signing.
Right.
Good luck. Thank you for
Ms.
coming
Moore.
to us.
Thanks for having me on.
We'll be back. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Well, once again, we're so happy to welcome Judi Freeman in our kitchen. And usually professionally known as Cakes by Judi has changed. It's going to be Pies by Judi.
Today. Just today.
Yes.
I just thought I'd like to challenge everyone watching to actually make a scratch pie.
Well,
and
yes.
see the difference. Can you smell that? Isn't that smelling so wonderful?
It smells great because we're so lazy sometimes. We pick up a frozen pie.
Oh, we are. Or even if we dare make a pie at home, we get that instant stuff and dump it and whisk it and throw it in a crust.
But the difference in the taste. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
It's so different. I made a chocolate cream pie here, and I thought I would show you how to take one recipe, make a chocolate cream pie, make a coconut cream pie, or the possibility of making a banana cream pie.
For heaven's sake.
I don't think anybody can argue with it. Somebody will like one of them.
Or maybe all 3.
Or maybe all 3. The first thing I did was add 3 cups of milk to my sauce pot. I'm going to add 1½ cups of granulated sugar. I'm going to add 1/3 cup of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is a thickening agent. It's been sitting in that container for a while. Cornstarch is a thickening agent, and also eggs are a thickening agent. So we have a little bit of cornstarch, and we're going to put the yolks of 4 eggs, not the whites, but just the yolks. And I've begun to warm my milk just a little bit, and you'll want to stir. Anytime you use cornstarch as your thickening agent, you will want to bring it to a bubbling boil and let that mixture boil for 1 minute. And
that's so it can thicken?
That's right. The cornstarch needs to bubble and boil for 1 minute. We'll add just a teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 2 blocks of melted chocolate, which is not melted right now, but it will be when I put it in that warm milk. And then all we will do is tend it and just let it stir. And once it becomes to a bubbling boil, we will let it bubble and boil for 1 minute. Now, because I don't want to spend all my time waiting for that to boil, I made a coconut cream pie here.
That looks great.
So I'll take us to the next step, and we'll just tend it a little along as we do this, okay? I've done this same identical recipe. Instead of putting chocolate in it, I put coconut.
Oh, yeah.
And if you'll come to my website, cakesbyjudi.com, I'll have this recipe on.
Good.
And I think you'll have it if people are interested in it, won't you?
Oh,
You'll
yes,
have it.
indeed, I should say.
After this bubbles and boils for 1 minute, we'll put it directly into a pre-baked pie shell, and that pie shell can be your scratch shell, or it can be one of the go to the store and buy it already done. Sometimes there's real good pie shells already available in the biscuit section of your grocery store.
The pie shells themselves are good.
They really are.
They're very generous.
And the one thing about a pie shell is when you make a pie shell at home, you need cold instruments to use to make the pie crust.
Yeah.
And our hands are warm. Sometimes they use machinery, and they really can do a better job than we can. Now, on top of our chilled for 1 hour cream pie, chocolate cream pie, I'm going to add
whipped cream.
Whipped cream. I'm going to be very generous with my whipped cream.
Oh, that does look delicious.
And I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to just do it just like this. This is kind of bakery tip for the way to just get your whipped cream right out to the edge. Now, if you're smart enough to have decorating equipment, which I do, but I didn't bring, you could make pretty designs on it. But this is a way to just deal with this just right out like this.
Well, you know what I love about the way you do that one is that you're very generous with the topping. And because otherwise it's just not special.
It's not special.
No.
And now if if I was going to put whipped cream on that, what I would do after I finished my whipped cream is I would sprinkle a little bit of coconut directly on top of this whipped cream. This needs to set in the refrigerator an hour so it sets up and it's strong enough.
After you mix it, you set it in the fridge before you put it in the oven.
No, we don't have to cook it at all. See, we're cooking it right in this pot.
That's right.
We won't even have to turn after we get our pie shell.
I was thinking this one you did.
No, we cooked our pie shell, and then we just let it set, and then see how pretty our pie is? Isn't that gorgeous? We could shave some chocolate on top. We could put some little pecans. We could do anything. We could just make a little swirl like that. And
boy, that
we
is
are
good looking.
So ready for company.
Yeah. And I think the crew right now is mouth-watering out there.
I think probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great.
And so then, see, all we would do is to begin to stir this and let it bubble and boil, and we'll have another pie. Plus...
Now, that thickened up a little bit.
Well, it thickened up a little bit. As it boils, it'll really thicken. But now, if you wanted a neat little dessert just in a cup, we could put it in here instead of in our crust.
For heaven's sake.
And then all our guests would have to do would be eat it right out of that cup. Wouldn't that be pretty?
Oh, yes.
That would be pretty. You know Thanksgiving will be here before we turn around good.
Yes, it will.
You take this one recipe. You could also make a banana cream pie if you didn't want to do the coconut.
We've got about a minute here.
If we didn't want to do the coconut, if we didn't want to do the chocolate, we could chop bananas up.
Banana. That's popular.
It's very popular, and that's good for you.
And bananas are good for you.
They have a lot of potassium in it, and I think we all need that.
Well, you make it so easy.
Well, within just a few minutes, we've made a good old homemade pie. I started to say cake.
And you didn't have to worry about shoving it in the oven and watching it and timing it and all of that sort of thing.
And it's really not difficult. I would say take this recipe, and if you have questions, call me. I'll be happy to answer.
Okay. You know, that really would be great for the holidays to pre-prepare like that, and it's very good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you the next time.
All right, I'll be here.
After these messages, we'll be back. The automotive industry is adding safety technology to SUVs every year. But they say that's not the only way to stay safe. And here's what they do suggest.
Safe, useful vehicles. Increasingly, that's what drivers say SUV could stand for. Already known for how well they handle in the snow, these sturdy vehicles are considered as safe as cars, and in the most common types of crashes, safer than cars. According to government data, SUVs have the lowest fatality rate in front-end, side, or rear crashes, which make up 97% of crashes. SUVs are incorporating new safety technology each year, including anti-lock brakes, side airbags, and traction control. What's more, automakers are working with government regulators to enhance the overall safety of all vehicles. Still, the first safety step all drivers and passengers should take is buckling up. Wearing a safety belt can reduce a driver's risk of fatal injury by up to 80%. If all SUV occupants wore safety belts, an estimated 1,000 more lives could be saved each year.
Well, the dental experts have just issued a survey reasoning about something called TMD. It's a dysfunctional ailment. And here's what they suggest for people who suffer from TMD.
Think you've got biting wit? Check your tooth wisdom with this quiz. True or false? The hardest substance in your body is tooth enamel. The answer is true. Enamel is harder than any human bone. Next question. Which of the following symptoms can be caused by temporomandibular joint dysfunction, or TMD? Headaches, earaches, jaw pain? The answer is all three. Additional TMD symptoms include shoulder pain and clicking or popping of the jaw. Final question. TMD is best treated by a regular dentist or a neuromuscular dentist. The answer is a neuromuscular dentist. These specialists evaluate muscular activity to find the best position for the jaw based on the teeth. The jaw and the surrounding muscles and nerves, all four have to do with treating TMD. If you got all three questions right, you've got something to smile about. If not, you may want to brush up on your dental knowledge. For more information on TMD or to find a neuromuscular dentist, visit www.leadingdentists.com.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.